I don't think you can really separate personal development from business development or even portfolio development. At the end of the day, your business, your portfolio is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of who you are, what you value, the difference you're trying to make, not only in your own life and for the life of your family, but in the world. Because every dollar, every effort, every transaction you do impacts other people, whether you know it or not. And so if you're not aware of that impact you're having, sometimes you have collateral blessing, and sometimes you have collateral damage. And a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot doing something that seems to make sense because they only have a little bit of vision. And when you become more self-aware, you also become more others-aware. And you can contemplate how the way you're behaving or what you're doing is impacting other people. And when you make up your mind to be a better person just for the sake of the other people, then I think that you build a level of goodwill into every business transaction, whether it's commerce or investment. And ultimately, the value of any enterprise is the relationships and the loyalty that come when people feel connected from one human being to another human being. Even if it's two organizations, it's still a heart-to-heart, mission-to-mission, value-to-value connection. I think the key to developing great relationships in business is the same as developing great relationships anywhere in life. And those are two human hearts connecting. And so when you have a reputation, a positioning in someone's life where they know you, they like you, they trust you, they will open up to you. They'll open up their wallet to you, they'll open up their database to you, they will open up their heart to you. And as you begin to work with people and understand what their hurts are, their needs, their wants, their desires, what they're moving away from, what they desire to move towards, and you can find a gap between where they are and where they want to go, and everybody has one. When you can uncover that gap, develop a relationship with someone where they'll open up and expose what that gap is, and then you can find a way to help them close that gap, then you've added value to their life, to their business, to their portfolio. And they will be loyal to you really in direct proportion to the amount of growth or progress they're making in their own life as a result of you being in it. I think everybody's in sales from the standpoint of every human being is interacting in any organization or society or enterprise with other human beings. And it goes back to that connecting at the heart. And if you have an unpleasant heart connection with someone, you're not going to want to engage with them in any way, shape, or form. That's bad will. And the reverse of that is true. When you have a heartwarming engagement with someone, then you're going to build goodwill towards them, towards the brand they represent. When I'm on an airline, that flight attendant, that gate agent, that is the airline to me. When I'm on the phone with a company of any kind with their customer service department, that entire organization could be tens of thousands of people. All are being represented by that one person. And how they behave, how they treat me, how they make me feel is how I feel about the entire organization. So every single person in every stage of their life is part of that process. So even in your personal life, in a family situation, in any situation, most of us are looking to persuade someone in some way. We want them to go to the movie we would like to see. We would like to have them go out on a date with us or marry us. We would like to have our children make good choices instead of bad choices. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Well, the act of persuading another human being is sales, and done properly, you're not asking them to do you a favor. You're showing them how what you are wanting them to do isn't about what you want, but it's really what's in their best interest. And your motivation in persuading them is in their best interest. And when you master that technique, and I'm aware of it, and still I blow it every day, so nobody does it perfectly. But when at least you're conscious of it, then you recognize, yes, I am in sales in everything I do, and the most effective way to be a successful salesperson is to understand the needs, wants, desires, goals, and objectives of the other person, and then find a way to inspire them to take the action that's within their control to do it. And sometimes that means doing business with you. Sometimes it doesn't. And that's okay, because it's not about you, it's always about them. I think anybody getting started in anything, the path is really the same, but specific to real estate investing, when you pick something that you want to be good at, and even within real estate investing, there's all kinds of niches. You can be a developer, you can develop different kinds of properties, you can be in different kind of markets, you can be a landlord, you can be a land developer, you can do agriculture. There's a lot of different varieties. So it's really not any specific type of real estate investing, but there's always leaders. There's always thought leaders. There are high performance people. If I wanted to be a great football player, I would study great football players. I would look at the way they think, the way they train, what they do, how they condition their body, the way they practice. I would look at the type of philosophies they embrace. And I would try to emulate that as much as I can without compromising, my own personal mission, vision, values. So to me, that's number one. You got to find a mentor or a role model, somebody that you can look at. And that's number one. I think the second thing is then you need to begin to fill yourself with a lot of great ideas. So the idea of having vision in terms of, okay, this is what success looks like because I have a role model. The next thing is you need to have the actual knowledge. And when, it could be knowledge about how to eat, it could be knowledge about how to do a financial analysis or due diligence, could be knowledge about how to do a transaction. And this is one area where I think a lot of people who are in the real estate education space take advantage of their students, because it's easy to convince a high performance person, an A student, a doctor, a lawyer, somebody that's always excelled in learning, that they need to learn how to do everything in real estate investing. They need to know how to do appraisal. They need to know how to do finance. They need to understand insurance. They need to understand landlord-tenant law and construction and planning and zoning and demographics, and the list goes on and on and on. And if you come from the mindset, I need to know all of these things in order to be successful, I can just sell you education. And so when it comes to knowledge, I would say what's important is to narrow your field of study to those things that you absolutely must know. I think everybody has to know how to sell because business is about making deals. I think everybody has to know how to do due diligence, to understand, is this a good person, is this a competent person, or is this a bad person, is this an incompetent person? Because you can't do good deals with bad people. So I think you have to understand that. I think you have to understand how to do financial analysis. At least enough to understand when somebody who's doing the number crunching for you is showing you the numbers, you have to be able to look at it mathematically and decide, is this a good deal or not a good deal? You have to know that. And then if you're going to take it to the next step where you're going to do anything bigger than yourself, I think you need to spend some time on leadership and communication. Because if you're going to build a team of advisors, a team of providers, and if you're going to grow a big company where you have staff, you're going to have to be able to lead them. You're going to have to be able to communicate your vision to them. And if you don't know how to do those things, who's going to do it? And so you do have to know how to do things, but you don't have to know how to do everything. When you know how to do those things, now you can go hire technical advisors who are completely up to speed on the latest loan programs or the latest real estate law. And you use your leadership and communication and sales abilities to bring everybody to the table and get your deals done. And then you use your due diligence and financial analysis skills to be able to decide if this is a good person and this is a good deal. And then when you have that, now you can go do some business. Now, I think, the biggest mistake I made in my life was studying so hard that I actually thought I was smart. And then I found myself in a lot of rooms where I was the smartest guy in the room. And that was the biggest mistake of my life. And so I've made it my mission in life to always look for the smartest room to be in and to be the dumbest guy in that room. I have to be smart enough to earn a seat at the table, right? You can't be dead wood, but I always want to be at the bottom end. It's like in real estate investing. I want to buy the junkiest house in the nicest neighborhood and then develop it. I want to be the junkiest guy in the nicest room and then develop myself up to where I'm a better person, a more intelligent investor, a better business person. So Robert Kiyosaki has had a huge impact on me because of the way he has mastered the art of communicating to the heart and inspiring people not just with information but transformation. Because if you don't change how you think, you're not going to change how you act. And if you don't change how you act, you're not going to change your results. Wanting something isn't enough. You have to do, and you have to do the right things. Kiyosaki's been huge. Tommy Hopkins is a guy that my first sales mentor, and I'm good friends with him today. I've been blessed that my life has allowed me to become friends with these people who were, my far-off heroes. And Tom taught me how to master the art of selling. And whenever I found myself in trouble, I could go back and rely on those skills to dig myself out of that hole. So Tom has been a fabulous mentor to me. My business partner, Robert Helms, he's courageous. He is not afraid to go in and get in way over his head. And sometimes he drags me out kicking and screaming. And I think, oh my God, how in the world are we going to pull this off? But somehow, some way we get it done. He really helped me understand the importance of investing. I used to try to earn money to hoard it. And he taught me that money was something that we turned. We turned it over. It flowed. And we had to distribute it. So money in, money out. And the key is that when it came back, it was bigger and the cycle kept growing. But if we didn't release it, it was just going to stagnate. And so that was a great lesson for me. Ken McElroy is a guy that taught me the importance of caring about his team at a human level, that keeping things very, very simple and not ever being, thinking that you're more than you really are. Ken is a brilliant guy, and at the same time, he's a humble guy. And so I really appreciate that about Ken and the way Ken goes out and seeks to put himself in organizations where he is being mentored. So even to this day, he is continuing to work on himself. And I could go on and on. There's a big, long list of people. I'm sure I left many, many notable people out. But, just top of mind, those are the people that have had a big impact on my life. Yeah, it's interesting. Sales skills. Sales is using language to communicate at both a intellectual level and at a heart level. So at its core, salesmanship is about communication. And if you think about whatever your native language is, along with learning how to put the words and the sentences together, you also learned the culture behind the words. And whatever culture you grew up in, along with the words came values. And so salesmanship, you learn by being around great salespeople. I was very fortunate early in my career that my uncle took me under his wing when I was just young and raw, and he was a very effective sales guy, and I learned kind of sales mojo from him. He wasn't a great technique teacher, but he was very gifted at relationship building. And then I went to work with another person who taught me the importance of personal development. And so it goes back to the environment you put yourself in, and then ultimately I discovered Tom Hopkins, and he began to share specific techniques. I ended up in some corporate training. And it was relevant to the kind of training that sales that I was doing, which was business to business selling. But really there were patterns and principles inside all of it. And so I'm not a big believer in memorizing scripts or being canned or phony. But I do think there's patterns and principles. The way you put sentences together, there's a structure. The way you write a paragraph, there's a structure. The way you write a book, there's a structure. The way you sell and communicate in a persuasion environment, there are patterns and principles, and you can write a lot of different books and a lot of different letters and a lot of different stories you can tell a lot of different ways, but they all kind of follow the same pattern. When you learn that pattern and you learn how to think and communicate at a heart level as a salesperson, then you become effective because you can move people. The key to sales is emotion. Your emotions is where the motion comes from. You want to move somebody from where they are towards wherever it is you'd like to see them go, your product, your service, or whatever behavior modification you're working on. It's about the motivation, the motive, the emotion. And a lot of people, I think, lose that. And they learn the words and they learn how to communicate all the features and the facts, but they don't talk to the heart. And you learn to speak anything, any language or culture by being in the environment. So get around great salespeople, get into a great sales organization, and I'm a big believer in drill for skills. If you can't find a place to be, find other people that are like-minded and create a drill for skills mastermind and get together and practice and challenge each other and then invite other people in and create your own environment. But you learn through environments, and you don't learn in a classroom. Necessarily, you don't learn in a textbook. You don't learn by watching videos. those are starting points, but you learn by being in environments. The most important thing I think anybody can do to develop in any area of their life is to seek out great environments with the right people, the right culture, and then make sure that you're on the lower end of the development spectrum so you can be pulled up by the group. You need to bring something, but you got to have room to grow too. Well, I mean, the easiest way to connect with us is to listen to the podcast, which is free, and then we have a weekly newsletter. My partner Robert Helms and I take great pride in putting together live environments, even though we're on microphones, and we think that human beings need to connect face-to-face, belly-to-belly. So we do an annual conference, the Investor Summit at Sea. We've done for a number of years. We've had great speakers and subject matter experts. So if you're interested in investing and personal development, that's great. We do an annual goals retreat called Create Your Future. My partner Robert does an amazing job taking people deep down into their uncovered needs, wants, desires, goals, and objectives, and bringing that out on the surface so you can go to work on it. And then we do some specialized training for people that are interested in learning how to raise money. If you're an active real estate investor and you see good deals, but you don't have enough money to go do them, well, there are a lot of people out there who have already made money, and now they're looking to put that money to work. And so the concept of syndication, what Ken McElroy has done in his life, is the idea of raising money. So we create environments where people can learn that and take that to a higher level. So that's kind of how to engage with us. We're easy to find.